Good evening, everybody. We'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Horn Lake Board of Aldermen. As we've always said, good government depends on the citizens being involved, and it's really nice to see all of you out tonight. At this time, I'd like to call on Alderman Johnson for our invocation.
Let us bow. Heavenly Father, we come tonight to say thank you. Thank you for all the many blessings that you've bestowed upon us. Lord, thank you for this great city that you've allowed us to have. Lord, help us to be good stewards over what you've blessed those who are less fortunate than we are. Bless those who are experiencing difficult times. Lord, give them comfort, give them peace. Lord, we ask that you just grant us all what we need. These things I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Very, very nice. If you would, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Alderman David Young.
And salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Thank all of you.
Alderman Young.
Here.
All right, everybody's present. We have a quorum. We can have some city business. All right, number one on your agenda is the vote on the municipal docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the municipal docket.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
All right. Everyone is here. Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Number two is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through U, with the exception of item D, and move that to new business in hopes that Mr. Glenn could have a monetary figure for us to vote on that.
All right. We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? I would like for the board to look at letter E for the sponsorship of the Palmer Home for the kids event. And then I think we're going to have a request tonight to sponsor the Special Olympics. And then down to letter M. No, I know we got it not there. We're going to have a request tonight from the band boosters for donations. Does anyone want to discuss letter E?
Mayor,
Who's that?
Mayor,
Alderman Young.
did they fill out the forms for the grant?
I don't know. Did they, Mr. Jim? No, they did not, sir.
Then I suggest we strike it from the agenda, sir.
All right. Is there any more discussion on letter E? Before I ask Alderman Boss if he wants to amend his motion, down on letter M, the football, is this the group, Mr. Coleman, that pays to use the field?
Yes, sir, they rent the fields out.
Sir,
Yes, sir, they rent the fields out.
have you ever had any problems with them in any way?
No, sir, no.
When they leave, it's all,
They normally take care of it. They have a crew that cleans up the parking lot and cleans up around the fields.
all right, all right. Alderman Bostic, are you open to amending your motion to strike letter E?
Yes, sir.
Is there any discussion on that?
Do they have the $1 million insurance?
I think it's more than that, isn't it? Isn't it 2 million? Mr. Coleman?
Yes, sir, they both have insurance. Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Anyone else have any questions or discussion? So we have a motion by Alderman Bostic Who made the second on that?
It still stands.
Still stand? All right, so we have a motion by Alderman Bostic, a second by Alderman Dupree to approve the consent agenda with the exception of letter B, to move that to new business, and to strike letter E. Pardon? Did you say B or D? D. D like a dog for the animal, okay? All right. You can tell I'm old because I can't hear real clear. Okay, we have the motion to approve the consent addenda with the exception of letter D, to move it to new business, and to strike letter E. All right. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right, moving on down, we're up to the claims docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the claims docket, general fund, $226,445.79. The library fund, $11,687.50. The economic development fund, $203,160.96. The utility fund, $270,498.51, for a total docket of $711,792.76.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Nay.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're down to number 4. Ms. Anderson, for the Horn Lake High School Band Boosters Club. Hi, Ms. Anderson.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I used to play in the Horn Lake Band back
You
in the
sure did. You played clarinet.
Thank you very much. Back in
Yes.
the early 60s when there was about 23 people in the band.
We have a little bit more now.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
Go ahead, please, ma'am.
Hello, my name is, I know this says Lisa Anderson, but I also forgot to add Williams. I got married recently, so my name is Lisa.
Can I interrupt you a moment, ma'am?
Yes.
Could you lower that microphone so there you go.
Is
Thank
that
you.
better?
Better, yes.
Sorry. I know it says Lisa Anderson, but I forgot to add Williams. I got married recently. So my name is Lisa Anderson Williams now with the Horn Lake High School Band Booster. I'm the current president. I did fill out some forms and submitted some paperwork for the grant. The paperwork that I submitted and what we're asking money for this evening is for hats for our kids for their uniforms. The portion that is quoted and that the information that you guys should have is just for the hats themselves for $4,900. And we are fundraising for the wraps that will go around it. So it will keep the kids from having to pay for those expenses out of their own pockets as part of their band fees.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Congratulations, ma'am.
Well, thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Williams? How many people are in the band? How many hats are you going to need?
As of right now, we have 120, and I think we have about 29. Some wonderful new tubas in.
Pardon?
We have some wonderful new tubas in.
Thank them.
Yes, yes, yes.
Does anyone have any questions? Alderman Johnson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What efforts are you making to match the funds that we may give you?
So the part that I'm asking for is just the piece that sits on the kids' heads, and we are matching, and there are wraps that will go around it to match their uniforms for the marching season. So the funds that we're asking for that are being provided for tonight will get reused year after year, and then every year we'll raise money to put wraps around them to match the uniforms for the shows.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that. Are you guys fundraising to go along with the donation that we may give you?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are you doing to fundraise?
So the next fundraiser that we have coming up will be a cookie dough fundraiser. And then I've also been in touch with the new car wash that we have in Horn Lake to do a fundraiser with them.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Young.
I think what you're doing with the band is fantastic. They're always such a good thing to see on Friday night. As the mayor has said more than once, as long as they hit the first note right and the last note right, they're good.
Yeah, we are out there on Friday nights to support our school and to support the football team, but a lot of times we also leave the following Saturday morning, sometimes 6, sometimes 7 in the morning, and travel all day long for competitions, and that's what these hats are for, is for the competitions.
You got some pretty good hamburgers and hot dogs, too.
Well, thank you. We've got some wonderful parents that come and help out and grill and contribute to that. I'd love to say I'm a part of it, but I'm not very good on the grill.
Anyone else? I hate to be negative, especially about the band.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really disappointed the band didn't come for the Christmas tree lighting this past year. Was there a scheduling conflict, or the band members just not want to come?
There was a scheduling conflict. So the conflict was our band directors were out of town for a conference, and without our band directors, the band can't come. They have to have staff members.
That's school policy?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine school board policy.
I would imagine
I
so.
certainly hope there won't be a conflict with schedules next year. I know the directors want to go to the conferences, but things begin at home.
Mm-hmm. Well, typically, it is the first weekend in December usually, and I think this year it was the second weekend or the third weekend in December.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request of $4,900 to the Horn Lake High School Band Boosters.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic, I'm assuming hotel motel? And we have a second by Alderman Bledsoe. Second still good, Alderman? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Aye. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Guise.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Vaughn.
Aye. Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. And
Thank you.
congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you.
And we're looking forward to hearing the band this year and seeing the hats.
Oh, yes, we look forward to showing them to you guys. We've got a wonderful show lined up.
Oh, great, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on your agenda is Miss Mary Wims with the Special Olympics. Hi, Miss Mary. I'm fine. How are you, ma'am?
Mr. Mayor.
Did you bring your bodyguards with you, Miss Mary?
They're back there, but,
No, they're right behind you.
yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
So I'm coming to the board tonight, as you know, I'm over the special,
Mayor, I need to recuse myself since my daughter is in.
All right, yes, sir.
I'm over the Special Olympics here in DeSoto
Excuse me,
County.
Miss Mary, can you give him time to get
Yep.
out, please? All right, Miss Mary, it's yours.
As y'all know, I am the Director of Special Olympics here in DeSoto County. Every year, we take, before COVID, we were taking about 60 athletes. Since COVID's happened, it's about roughly 40 athletes to Biloxi every year, but we still have to rent a bus, pay for T-shirts and all that. So I'm coming to the city tonight to ask for $500 to help go towards that. We've already raised $4,000. The bus is roughly $3,500, but we still have to buy T-shirts. We still have to pay fees to the state for all the athletes and coaches that we take, and then provide a meal on the way home because it's on a Sunday that we're coming home from Biloxi. So we always stop and feed them lunch on the way home. So the trip usually runs us about $7,000. So we've raised $4,000 this past Sunday at a spaghetti dinner. We have another spaghetti dinner scheduled for April. And then we're going to be doing a fundraiser also in April. It's a calendar fundraiser where people sponsor a day for an athlete. So we were just trying to get $500 from the city to help go towards that cost.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Miss Mary? Alderman Bledsoe.
Is that all you need is $500?
Well, we need more than that, but I know the city's a little tight on donations, so I'm not trying to take from everybody else. So we'll come back in 2 years for a bigger donation because we'll have USA games that are going to Minnesota. So I would rather hold my asking power till then and get as little as possible now, because that trip's going to cost our area alone probably $10,000 to $15,000 to take athletes to Minnesota.
Okay, well, I wish you kind of totaled it all
Oh,
together.
I'm sorry.
And that way we'd be done with it.
Right. So, yeah, that's what it is. Because like I said, this one, we don't take as many now that COVID has come, since COVID, parents don't want to bring them back out. The group homes don't allow them to participate as much, so, but we will take more when we go in 26 to Minnesota. So that's why I'm trying to wait and ask for my bigger amount then. So.
Alderman Klein.
So do you request other cities to participate in?
Yes, we do ask Hernando, Olive Branch, and South Haven. Last time, the only city that didn't give to us was South Haven. They wouldn't even talk to us.
Okay.
So that just goes to show what South Haven's about, so.
Alderman Johnson.
Miss Mary, where do your students come from?
They come
Athletes
from the high schools, the middle school, and the intermediate. So
All over DeSoto County?
All over DeSoto County. So April 26th, I believe it's a Wednesday, we'll host our first school event since COVID at DeSoto Central High School, and that involves all of the, not elementary, all of the intermediate, middle, and high schools in DeSoto County and Tate County and Marshall County and Tunica. Those are the counties that we're over. I don't get as much money from like Marshall and Tate and Tunica just because they're the lower poverty areas, but we have to fundraise everything. So our next games that we have, luckily DeSoto Central High School, some of their clubs are going to sponsor the lunch, but once I start back up, I have to find sponsors for lunch, sponsor for T-shirts, and different things like that, so.
Yes, ma'am. Will she need to fill out the paperwork or request as well?
What now?
The paperwork for the request for funds.
Then, I mean, for $500,
You don't think we do?
I wouldn't think.
That's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah.
I believe that in our committee meeting, we made a decision that we could, the board could make a decision not to advance that as long as it's not more than $5,000.
All right.
Is that,
Yes.
was that
Yes,
your
sir.
question, Ms. Jones? I thought so. I'd like to, two things, Mayor. One, if Dan and Dan can come cut yards.
Yeah, good luck. I can send my son and he'll cut your grass, but these two, yeah, no.
Okay, because they just bought new leaf blowers from what I understand, so they need practice using them.
Yeah.
But
Yes, sir.
I'm asking, the second thing is, I'd like to make a motion that we advance them $2,000 for this trip to
Oh, my
Mexico.
goodness.
Or the deal down there to assist them in leasing the bus or whatever. That's what I'd like to do, because they're gonna come back when they go to Atlanta, but, I mean, as long as they don't bust the 5,000 in a year, they're fine. So if we give them 2,000 now, they can get 3,000 when they come back.
Anybody have any?
I'm good with that.
Let me just throw something out. I'm a great admirer of the Special Olympics program, and I really admire you and Mr. Dwayne for everything you do for all your athletes.
I appreciate
And I
it.
know these two gentlemen here are really, really involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they got a couple of more fundraisers coming up. What about if the board would consider 500 tonight, and then if they come up short from the other, because if we give them that much tonight,
Yeah.
they might not get much action on the other fundraisers.
Exactly.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
just something to throw out for the board to think about.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Mayor,
sir.
if you
Alderman
don't-
Klein.
I mean, because with that amount, I would say they would need to fill out an application for the grant, for 2,000. So I'd recommend that they just ask for the 500 now.
That's all, I mean, I think we'll be able to raise the rest of it, and like I said, in 2 years, I will be stepping down from from the director's position. I mean, I'm at the point in my life where I enjoy Special Olympics and everything, but I've been doing it for almost 20 years. So it's ready for somebody else. So if y'all know anybody else that might want to,
Goodness.
because we're always needing volunteers, and we're always needing, so I would rather, like I said, keep it for another 2 years where when I go out, they'll be sitting good on a little cushion of money.
Is the board comfortable with that suggestion, 500 tonight? And if the other fundraisers aren't
Yes, sir.
successful, that Ms. Wins be able to come back to us? Is everybody comfortable with that?
Yes, sir.
Alderman Bledsoe.
That leaves you $4,500 left.
Yep.
Any more discussion? Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the request for Special Olympics for $500 and also adding in what the mayor requested, that if they're short on their fundraising, that they come back to us to for us to help them complete that goal.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Alderman Bostic. Any discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman Bledsoe.
And if you do come back for more, you might want to fill out that paperwork.
I will. I'll make sure I fill it out.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please, Miss Julie.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Yep.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 recused.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Miss Mary.
y'all.
Thank you. Thank
And
you,
if
Miss-
y'all have an opportunity to come out, like I said, I think it's April 26th. We're having track and field over at DeSoto Central, and just see some of the athletes participate.
This is the one you used to have over here in Horn Lake.
No, we still have one. We'll still have one this fall in Horn Lake.
I beg your pardon?
We'll still have another one in Horn Lake. It's, the one we have in Horn Lake is fall games where they do like the softball throw and all that. This is where they'll actually run the track.
Thank you, Miss Mary.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Miss
Wayne.
Mayor,
Thank you, Mr. Dan and Mr. Daniel. Thank y'all.
anything pertaining to things like that, could you send an email to Jim where he could forward it out to all of us on
Okay.
those dates and stuff?
I will. I
All right,
will.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on down. Planning. Do you have anything for the board, sir?
No, sir, not tonight.
All right, anybody have any questions for Mr. Andrew? All right, we're on number 6, ladies and gentlemen. It's a resolution for cleaning private property. This is a public hearing. I now declare it open. We have a list of properties that have not been maintained. If the board so chooses, they can have contract work done to bring them up to code. Is anyone in the audience to speak yea or nay on any of these properties? No one? I declare this public hearing closed. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
make a motion to approve the resolution for cleaning private property of the 2 addresses that are listed.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Any discussion? Roll call, please. Oh, excuse me, Alderman Johnson.
Mayor, I just want to ask Mr. Andrew, what is your, what formula are you using? Normally, we have way more than 2, and I've noticed lately that it's shrinking, so why is it just 2?
So we are leaving this to the code officer's discretion to determine whenever these properties go into resolution. I can't speak for what kind of criteria they used to judge these properties on. But I can certainly have that conversation with them. But as far as I know, we're just making sure that we correctly identify which properties need to be brought here. We don't want to bring a property here where we could have other ways to get them into compliance. Our goal is compliance, so as long as they clean these properties up, that's what we're wanting to do.
Anything else? Alderman Bostic.
Yeah, one thing, Alderman Johnson, the grass hasn't started growing yet. So about 2 months from now, there'll probably be about 12 up there every week, every 2 weeks.
Yeah, right now, most of these are going to be junk or debris in carports, out in the yard, you know, furniture thrown out, car parts, stuff like that sitting around, where we try to get people to, you know, dispose of it properly, and there's always some reason that they can't dispose of it. And whenever we try to get these properties cleaned up, the ones you're seeing the past few months, they're not vegetation related, they're just junk in the yard related.
Anyone else? Alderman Bledsoe.
And I know you don't have very many code people, but if you go down 2 Lane, you see 9,000 cars parked in yards. It looks like a pig pen. So if you can get them to jump on that, that's been a while.
Yes, sir, we'll get them to check on that.
Anyone else? I think the intention of the board, Mr. Hawkins-Smith, when they hired extra code people, and I know you're overloaded out there, but by hiring extra people and having their own supervisor, I think the intention of the board was to really see things cleaned up instead of try to work with them. Maybe one try is enough. You know, I think that's what the board's trying to get across. You know, anybody else have any comments?
Mayor,
Alderman Dupree.
to piggyback on what you just said, we did have that conversation when Chad was here, Mr. Barr was here. We did have that conversation, and it was agreements with the board that we gave them one chance, and then they went back and cited them. That was the consensus of the board.
Anyone else? Right, do we have a motion? That's right, we got a motion, we had a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Aye. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Boston.
Aye.
Alderman Guice.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries, 7 in favor, none opposed. All right, letter B under number 6. Discussion regarding the proposed DeSoto County City's cost sharing of crime lab technicians. I know everyone had a chance to read over all the paperwork that was in your packet. About a month ago, the district attorney, Mr. Barton, asked the mayors of the city and the sheriff to come down there, and he presented us with information about how long it was taking to get results back from the crime labs. In fact, as you saw in the paperwork, a lot of cases were thrown out because it took more than 2 years. He brought up in discussion about the cities and the counties sharing the cost of a crime lab. At that meeting, he talked about us all building a crime lab. Now he's come back and saying that we can use the state facilities at Batesville. And what they're going to be, this is not a request tonight. This is just to fill y'all in on the information. What he's thinking about right now is dividing the cost of the 2 forensic pathologists between the county and 4 cities. Walls is so small they don't figure into the equation. The $50,000 they're requesting, I saw that in the paper when he went before the Board of Supervisors. So I talked to Chief Pullen earlier. With the board's consent, can I ask Chief Pullen to fill y'all in on how long it takes to get this? Chief Pullen, would you mind informing the board and the citizens How long, does it really take that long to get the results back from the crime lab?
Yes, sir. So on average, from January of 2020 to January of 2024, we're averaging 7 months for results to come back, and that's drug cases and non-drug cases combined. So I didn't delve into just drug cases, but I can tell you that drug cases definitely take much longer than a non-drug case. So again, on average, all of our cases in a 4-year span is taking about 7 months.
And when I asked you a while ago if you wouldn't mind addressing the board, if they had any questions for you, you said you had talked to the other chiefs of police and the sheriff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we've met in the last few weeks, and all are on board with it also. We need the assistance.
Does anybody have any questions for
Yes.
Chief Pullitt? Alderman Klein.
Chief, so the cases that you send down to the state lab, does that cost the city, or you having to pay something for that?
Yes, sir.
What-
We do, and we usually, we always ask for restitution in those cases. The judge orders it or doesn't order it. Typically, it is ordered in the final disposition of that case, restitution for what we paid. But whether or not we get it back or, how it does come back is a completely different story.
So, just a matter of the calculations of money and stuff, they're asking 50,000. Is that pretty much what we're spending every year to send things down to the lab?
No, sir.
Nothing to that
No, sir.
level?
I would even venture to say between 5,000 and 10,000.
Okay. Did they say what the backlog was caused from COVID or something that caused the backlog, or are they doing anything to get rid of the backlog?
Yes, sir. We've always been told it's just a shortage of manpower, and they just don't have enough people to process the evidence that they're getting in.
And that's a state level position, so the state folks are not upping their people to cover the load then, is what's going on?
Assuming, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Alderman Dupree.
To answer your question on previously, when I was in law enforcement, I had felony cases as well. This was 10 years ago as well. I was seeing, thanks to the crime lab, 17, 18, 19 months later, we would get the results back. So it's been a long time that they've had problems with this issue.
So, Mayor, well, I appreciate
Alderman
it.
Klein.
So I guess where I'm going with that is that because, to speed it up and to expedite, hey, I'm all for that. And I'm just wondering, the money that they're spending with these people, we're going to have our own. Do we get any kind of participation from the state level, other than, I guess, using their facilities? It would be a good one, I guess.
I can't answer for that. Again, I know on our end, anything to expedite these cases, because, if down we don't even send the case down typically, especially a drug case. We don't, until we have those results and make certain that we're making a good case and presenting a good case, then we won't spin our wheels until then. So it's just a matter of expediting the case and getting it down, and the speedy part of the process is where we're missing the boat, in my opinion. It needs to speed up.
Yeah, that, and we definitely don't want to put criminals back on the street because of being slow. Thank you, Chief.
Anyone else? Alderman Dupree.
Chief, is there any type of, or maybe you haven't looked into it, state funding? Any type of bonds, not bond, but grants out there? Get this going?
I'm not familiar with it, if there are, and I haven't researched, so I can't answer one way or the other.
Anyone else? Alderman Geis.
My question is, are they talking about the county and the cities hiring their own lab technicians
Yes,
to work
two of
in that facility?
Two of them.
Two of them? So I know before I left law enforcement, on drug charges and stuff like that, we were having to charge them with other charges because the AG's office had ruled that you had to have the lab technician here to testify. Would those personnel be coming up here to testify in court so we can actually properly charge people?
I would think, my understanding, and Mayor, you may know better than I
That
would.
wasn't even discussed at the meeting.
Okay, my understanding is, these will be devoted to DeSoto County cases.
Period.
So when they're needed for DeSoto County cases, they're made available, is my understanding.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mayor,
Alderman Young.
what's the number? What number are they looking for to come up with?
What they were talking about when he addressed the Board of Supervisors was 50,000. But I read that in the paper and in these articles that came out. When we met, it was gonna be a lot more than that because they thought we were gonna have our own lab. So this is really a lower figure, but I have some questions from the chief. This $50,000 is not set in stone. This came off of his testimony or his remarks to the Board of Supervisors. And then all of us read about it in the paper. So I couldn't give you a dollar figure.
So we don't really know what they're asking each municipality for yet. We've got an idea, but we're not sure.
We got an idea, and that's it. Just an idea based on the remarks in the paper. Alderman Young?
Well, I thought Mr. Campbell was saying something.
I was just going to add to that, Mayor. The county attorney sent me an email saying that it was what they were suggesting was $50,000 from each of the big cities and $50,000 from the county. So a total of $250,000.
What they're suggesting.
He was directed to start working on an interlocal agreement as soon as the boards from the cities agreed to it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone have any? Alderman Young?
I don't know how we're gonna agree on it until we know what the number is.
That's what I'm telling you. The number's 50,000 is what they're requesting.
That is gonna be the number.
But that's their requested number as we sit here right now.
It's the right now part that scares me.
While I've got the mic, I'll add this. I have seen a comment come out of Hernando that says, look, the 50,000 is really not fair for all of the cities. Maybe we should look at a caseload figure as opposed to.
Now you hitting my hot button. That's
splitting it
exactly where I
evenly.
was going with it.
Assuming no one has an objection to that, that's something that the mayor and I could explore.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you. All right. And I want to follow up on what Alderman Klein said. We typically spend $10,000 or less each year on the crime lab. If the board agreed to supply a higher number, would that increase public safety? Would these people go to jail quicker? Depends on the judge, I guess.
I would say it's case by case, yes, sir. Depends on the judge, certainly, and then, we're not just talking drug cases. So this is all total, every bit of evidence that's sent to the crime lab. So, we charge people on the front end, and then, of course, they're given the bond, and then, once, it goes through the process, and by trial, we have to have those results. So I can't say yes or no if that's gonna get more people off of the street. I would say it can't hurt.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was just following up on Alderman Klein. You know, we're paying maybe $10,000, but now they want us to pay $50,000. And if it increases the safety of our citizens, I don't think anybody on this board would object to that.
Sure.
If it makes for a safer city. And for those who may not know, the last, a couple of years ago, the last time I saw the figures, Horn Lake was rated the 7th safest city in Mississippi, thanks to our police department and the involvement of the citizens. And we certainly thank you for that. Now, is it the will of the board that Mr. Campbell and I explore what Hernando suggested? Is there any more suggestions on this or questions on this topic? Alderman Klein.
All right, so the, I guess the lab people, when you call them up to come to a case, was the cities responsible to pay for their stay or anything of that nature coming from the state?
So in the municipal court, we wouldn't, let's say we were to charge them with it would come out of restitution. So the defendant would be responsible for paying that back. In this court, municipal court, no, sir.
I got you.
Anyone else?
Mayor, I think Alderman Klein, we haven't really worked through the details of who those two technicians, they're going to be employed by somebody up here, probably DeSoto County, but, so they'll be covered under that employment agreement.
Part of that 10,000 or whatever, that we're spending is where I was going with that.
Good point. Alderman Bostic.
So today, the supervisors spoke about this in their meeting
No,
possibly?
This was what, last week?
I know all the boards of the municipalities are discussing this tonight. I was
I
just
don't
wondering
know
if the
if they are or not.
supervisors did it all.
I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. Campbell?
I was going to say, I think they discussed it when Mr. Barton presented it to them, and that's where the number came from. I don't know, I don't think South Haven is discussing it tonight. I think they've already discussed it and said we're good with it, and I think the other three cities are discussing it.
So Olive Branch, Hernando, and us, we're still discussing it. Does that answer your question, Alderman Bostic? Okay. Alderman Young.
I was just looking here at the budget on drug seizure cleared that year-to-date's $30,000. So, I mean, I don't have a problem increasing it. I just want to know what we're increasing it to and what we're going to get out of it.
That's what we're all trying to figure out.
I mean, we got plenty, that's what I'm looking at. We got plenty of revenue coming in from the drug seizures. They're doing a heck of a job.
If they collect it.
Yeah, so I mean, we're okay there. We're not going to break the bank or anything, but I just want more clarification on what.
We all do.
Which is exactly, yeah.
Mr. Campbell.
I'm looking at Chief Pullen. There may be some spending limitations on drug seizure funds that it can only be used.
Mayor?
Alderman Geis.
On your comment about public safety, I think where it'll really help is the turnaround on the evidence coming back. Like, I would send off fingerprints and it might take a year to come back, and that person's broken in 3 or 4 more houses, and one was actually a rape case where the person that I got the prints on ended up breaking in a home in Memphis and raping and killing a lady. And about 2 weeks after that, the prints came back, and it took too long for the prints to come back. If they'd have come in earlier, we would have known who it was and possibly arrested that person. So this is where I think it'll really help is we have our own dedicated crime techs who are working on our stuff on a priority so it would come back quicker. So I think that's where it would pay in the long run, is getting it back in a timely manner. So.
Well, thank you, sir. That's what I was concerned about. We all read about other localities where the criminals go in and then they walk right out the door. And that's what I was alluding to, was this help us detain people that needed to be off the streets for the safety of our citizens. Our citizens all over, like Alderman Geis pointed out. Any more discussion on this? All right, let's go back to letter D. It's a request to approve Animal Director Glenn Andrews to attend a Tennessee Animal Care and Control Conference in Gatlinburg, Tennessee in September and October of this year.
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
Make a motion to approve, let me get to the right thing, for Director Andrews to attend the 2024 Tennessee Animal Care and Control Conference from September 30th to October 1st in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, for the registration and hotel fee of $297 plus the standard per diem.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Geis, We got a second by Alderman Dupree. Do we have any discussion? Do we have any discussion? Roll call, please, Miss Julie.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Guy.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed.
Mayor,
Alderman Young.
I'd like, in new business, if I could have about 30 seconds to bring something up for a second. Just, you want me to do a new business or an Alderman correspondence?
Let's do it, Alderman correspondence, if you
Lord.
don't mind, sir.
That's fine.
All right. We are going down to citizens' remarks. We're always glad to hear from our citizens. Please remember, your time limit is 3 minutes up here. At the end of 3 minutes, it will be cutoff time. You'll hear it gavel down. All right, Mr. Lucas Todd. Our IT department got this fixed up so you can kind of judge for yourself how your time's running.
How are y'all doing tonight?
Hello, Mr. Todd.
Reason I'm here tonight is to ask the board and the mayor to look back into the medical cannabis ordinance for the city of Horn Lake. I'm the regional manager of both medical cannabis dispensaries in the city of Horn Lake, Wise Dispensary and Wise Cannabis Dispensary. There are a few things that I'm asking to possibly look into and possibly amend, and I invite all of the aldermen and the mayor to come and see kind of how our dispensaries are set up and how we, our procedure as far as dealing with our patients. But I'm asking to possibly look into the requirement of security as well as the not being able to sell paraphernalia to our patients. Excuse me. But as far as a little insight, I was wanting to talk about as far as our procedure, the moment a patient steps foot into our doors to the moment we walk them out of our doors. So say a medical cannabis patient comes and sees us, they step foot through our doors, they're meted at the lobby area where we require not only a medical ID, but a driver's license to verify who they are, as well as what they're able to purchase. We let them in through a locked door from the inside, so as far as people getting in from the outside, they're not able to do that. We're able to pull up their availability as far as what they're able to purchase, not only on their weekly basis, but on their monthly basis as well. All of our stuff is locked in cases, secured. Never will you find those unlocked unless one of our bud tenders is unlocking them to serve a patient. We get our patient checked out and we walk them to our front door through our lobby area, and then if needed, we will also escort them to their vehicle.
Very nice, Mr. Lucas. If I understood you correctly, you're extending an invitation to the board and myself to come by, check out your business, see how you operate.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I hope the board will consider doing that. But I know you had to cover a lot of ground fast tonight, but could we put you on the agenda for the next meeting? That would be the 19th, where you'd have more time to present your case and maybe have time for the board members to go by and view your business, and you explain to them exactly what you'd like to see different.
Please, absolutely.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Alderman Young?
Where's your store at?
So we have two locations right now.
It's where?
We have two locations right now. One is on the corner of Goodman and Tulane, right there. And then we also have one on Goodman and 51.
Okay, so over next to Super Drugs,
Yes, sir.
and then one right over here.
Yes, sir.
Right over here in the shopping center?
Yes, sir.
You still got that mirrored thing up on your window in front of that building?
No, sir, it's been removed.
That's good. You don't need to do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody? Alderman Geis?
On the paraphernalia part of it,
Yes, sir.
would that also be in the back area where your product is?
Yes, sir.
And no one off the street would just be able to come in there and buy it. They would have to have a card and.
Yes, sir.
And all that.
No one without a medical card can set foot past our lobby door.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so he's going to be back on the 19th, and if you have a chance, go by and view his establishment and question him, but he's going to be back on the 19th, and if you have any questions, everything, please have them prepared for Mr. Lucas. Thank you, Mr. Lucas.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board.
Ms. Lisa Anderson Williams, I believe you've already been up here.
Yes.
All right. Ms. Latasha Jackson. Hey, Ms. Jackson.
How are you?
Are you one of the Jacksons from Nesbit?
No, sir, I'm not. I'm actually from Como, Mississippi. I am a state representative for District 11.
Well, welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me. And I can attest to the crime lab as an issue. We've taken that up several times during sessions, so hopefully we can get some aid to our cities. I'm here tonight basically in support of Wise Dispensary. I've been asked to come as a character witness or character attester to Zach Hansen's business character and just the legislative intent for medical marijuana or cannabis for patients. This is not recreational for anyone. And so what he asked me to do is speak directly to the undue burden that the security guard is costing his business. Okay, so I just want to talk about that. Previously, the gentleman spoke and said that you have to have a medical card. The ordinance that the city currently has requiring the city ordinance requiring a security guard is available according to the statute of the state. The city has that discretion. But we also, as a state legislator, put in things in place that required a security plan for those businesses to open a dispensary. I was a part of that task force to make sure. This is a very new area, a venture, a business, so I understand how it can be questionable. But this gentleman has been in business for 4 months, and now we're at the point of retaining new license. And with the cost of security guards and not making as much money or individuals' insurances not being able to be billed so it's profitable, this very well could deter an individual. So what the state of Mississippi initially did with medical marijuana and the cannabis for patients, not recreational use. So this is not a hangout, this is not a drugstore where people can just come and hang out. As the gentleman said, the state specifically put procedurally where you have to show that medical card first and then go in. We also gave the statute where it would allow you to have a security plan with cameras. Yes, cities could strengthen that ordinance and require more. I'm just compelling this city to reconsider the revision of the ordinance that's requiring the security guard, because that is an undue burden and that is very strenuous. Though the state left that, we are legislatively in Jackson now repealing some of the things that we're allowing the state ordinance to do, because there have been so many different things, because this is a very new and a gray area. So I'm just here on the behalf of the gentleman, basically attesting to you all, stating that we support medical cannabis for the need of individuals that are in need of it medically, not recreationally. And anything you all can do to keep those individuals to get it, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Excuse me, Representative.
Yes.
Number one, thank you for making the long trip up from Jackson.
Definitely.
So you have to drive back early in the morning?
I have to drive back early in the morning.
Well, safe on the road. Does anyone have any questions for the state representative?
I do.
Alderman Dupree, thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming up here. I'm glad you said people who actually need it.
Right.
That is, I have no problem with that. I want everybody to hear that. People who actually need it, I have no problem with. But what I have in my hand right here, this is on Facebook. DeSoto County, Mississippi for medical cannabis. Medical cannabis. It is a festival, Cannabis Festival, Mississippi. And under this, there are about 60 comments. Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be great for us. One comment was, I got my medical card last week for $200 without a doctor on Facebook. This is why I did not vote for it, because I knew it was coming. I saw it, and I disagree with everything that the cannabis, almost everything that the cannabis represents, except the people who actually need it.
Right.
So any type of security, whatever it could be, to stop the people who don't need it, like security guards, I'm all for it.
So the,
So that's me showing this is the reason, well, me showing this is something that shows that we need security. We need some strenuous protocols. It's not for the people who need it. That's great. I'm say it again, but it's for the people who don't need it. That's what I'm worried about.
So to attest to that, a security guard couldn't prevent an individual from getting the card. And as the gentleman said, you have to have the card to even go through the lobby. So what I'm thinking possibly happened, that individual paid for some medical individual to issue a card. But we are reconsidering a lot of those procedures, as you stated. I'm going to actually search to find that post so that we can actually take that up in the Drug Policy Committee
Right, you
as
can
well.
look at it, DeSoto County, Mississippians for medical cannabis.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that
Thank you.
out tonight, Alderman. And Representative, thank you for taking the time
Thank
to
you.
listen to us. And I'd like to point out to everyone that we're not voting on this tonight.
Right.
Mr. Lucas is going to be back in 2 weeks, and hopefully you will have a chance to go by and look at his business. You will have a chance to formulate your questions, and you probably make up your mind. But this is not the time tonight. Representative,
Thank you.
thank you very, are you
Thank
from
you.
Como originally?
I'm from, my dad was military, so I
Thank
moved back
you.
to Como. Thank you.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank
Safe
you.
journey. All right. Mayor, Alderman, correspondence. I wish to just thank all the department heads, all the people who are employed by the city for the wonderful job that they do for our citizens. We don't get to highlight them very much, but all of you are here tonight. You know what's going on. Thank you for coming tonight. Alderman Young, do you have anything, sir?
Yes, sir, I did, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Something I just want to bring forward to start planting the seeds. We can start thinking about it because we're definitely running out of time. We're going to have to replace Rescue 1 and Engine 3. I would like to have it placed on the next agenda. We're going to have those two engines. We need to order them now. They're 3 to 5 years out before they will arrive in our city. They're going to be about $1 to $1.2 million each. And we're going to have both of these to maintain our fire rating and our service to our citizens. So I would like to go ahead and plant that seed and ask Mr. Jim if you could please put that on the next agenda, please.
Would you put it on the agenda, please, Mr. Robinson? Thank you. Anything else, sir?
No, sir, that's it.
Alderman,
Yeah, there is one thing. Drew, great job at the park. I know we said it last time, but it's really nice. A lot of people really like it. Thank you, and I appreciate you getting the specs on the ADA park. The Lions Club has them from what I understand, so we should get something on that real soon. Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you, sir.
Alderman Dupree, you have anything?
I don't, thank you.
Alderman Johnson?
No, sir.
Alderman Bostic? All right. Alderman Geis?
No, sir.
Alderman Bledsoe?
One thing, Drew, have they got the sign working where you can operate it? So you can put happy birthday, the mayor, 100th year birthday. It's coming up quick.
Security, we need to get Mr. Bledsoe out of here.
Drew, did you hear me?
Yes, sir, the sign is working, but we have not gone through training yet. That should be coming up within next couple weeks.
Okay. Did y'all come up with a price that you charge people to put stuff on there like that?
We have not.
Okay, might be thinking about it. Thank you.
Thank you for those kind remarks, Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein, you have anything?
Just one thing on that, in regards to, because I'm looking forward to them putting meeting dates and things of that nature on there to let the public know, and then also for safety things, you know. So I'm glad you asked that question, Alderman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Chief Pullen, do you have anything for the board?
No, sir, Mayor.
Anybody have questions for Chief Pullen?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
Hey, Chief. There used to be an app on Energy where we could go and report street outages and street lights out or whatever. We could just drive by and go through there and just put in 123 Widget Street, and they got it and it down, and we could turn that into Mr. Boss. We could turn that into Mr. Boss. We got street lights out all over the city, and that's certainly a safety issue. Can that be something else that we can load the wagon with?
Certainly.
Thank you. That's
Anything for the board? Welcome back. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you, sir. Just to report that we should have our new truck, sewer vector truck in by the end of this month. Did tell it.
Would you say that again? What truck?
Our new sewer vector truck
I hope
should be
that-
coming in by the end of this month. So when I get it in, I'll bring it up here and let everybody see it.
Would you explain to the audience?
Sewer vector truck is a combo truck that is used for clearing sewer mains and also vectoring debris and grease and stuff out of manholes or lift stations and that nature.
Great. Anyone have any questions? Alderman Bledsoe.
Will that thing work at the park to suck out the subsurface drainage?
That thing will suck up anything you put in front of it.
We don't want all the infield gone.
Mayor.
Alderman Klein.
So that truck also works like a jetter? Is
Yes,
that
it has
correct?
a jetter. It's a jetter. That's why they call it a combo unit. It's a jetter to unstop mains, and it has the hose reel and all that on it. It also has the big vector with the tank on it, so that you can actually pull out big chunks of grease and debris out of the manhole, so that will, instead of sending it on down the line, you can actually get it up out of there and dispose of it.
Yeah, now that's the one that we're talking, we spent about 800,000?
No, we spent a little over $400,000.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Alderman Bledsoe.
How long will it take to do training on that for your people? And you need 2 or 3 people trained on it, because where they come and go, you never know.
Yeah, all my utility people will be trained on it. It's probably not. It's an intimidating truck. I mean, they're used to running the one we got now, and I'm sure the new one will be intimidating when you see it. But once you get the hang of it, what you got to do, it'll come natural.
I just want to make sure they're trained before they get on it.
Oh yeah, we'll have plenty of good training on that. What needs to be done on it.
Anyone else? Chief, how are you this evening?
I'm fine, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Sir?
I'm fine, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
You have anything for the board?
No, sir, I do not.
Anybody have any questions for Chief? And please tell Chief Limble we hope he has a speedy and complete recovery.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
Speaking of the fire trucks, when are they actually going to be needed?
We have one expiring in 2027, and we have another one expiring in 2029.
Okay.
We can delve into that next board meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Drew, you have anything for the board?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. I don't have anything tonight, sir.
Anyone have any questions or comments from Mr. Drew? Alderman Young.
Mr. Drew, when are they going to start on that park over in Twin Lakes, the new playground?
He hasn't given me a date yet. We're still waiting on the equipment to come in.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
If y'all hadn't had a chance, go out and look at the new playground equipment. It's really, really first class, and thank you for spearheading that, Mr. Coleman. Good evening, Mr. Malavasi. How are you, sir?
Just fine, Mayor, thank you.
Do you have anything for the board, sir?
I just wanted to make you aware that there has been some conversation recently with MPO, and they are discussing adding some additional streets. As a matter of fact, planning director and myself were online with them not long ago, and the streets that they're talking about adding, the significance of it, they're adding it to our, what they call the functional classification map. And for a street to be eligible for funding through MPO, it has to be on that map. Right now, there's only several, probably 3 or 4 major streets in the city right now that have that classification. They're looking at changing some of the existing streets to this map so that they would be eligible for funding. So what does that mean? It means that we can probably take some of the streets off that we're planning on doing our street upgrades on and have it funded 80% grant through the MPO.
That's great. That's great.
So as soon as we get that, as soon as they make a final determination on what those streets are, of course, we'll bring them to the board for approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Box, I'm sure that's good news to you.
Most definitely.
Anybody have questions for Mr. Malavasi? Mr. Andrews, you got the floor. You have anything for the board, sir?
Good evening, Mayor, Alderman. Thank you. Actually, I do. Thank you again for approving the Tennessee conference. I think that the skills that I'll pick up will be beneficial to teach the rest of my team. I want to talk numbers with you guys real quick. Before I arrived to the shelter, we were rarely getting wellness vaccines, which is something that's an industry standard, something we should be giving to all pets as they come in. I've been talking about this over and over again over the board meetings. We've just got to the point where I've actually ordered them, we've started administrating them, and so this is a very exciting time for us. The numbers are, we previously paid $9 per vaccine for the dogs. We are now paying $2.52.
Oh, great.
We estimated an intake per year at 600, and that's times 9. So we were paying approximately $5,400 a year to vaccinate approximately 600 animals. We are now only going to be paying $1,512. So this is a very exciting thing for me. I'm glad that we were able to get so much. The vaccines are good. They're great. They're covering everything that we need to get covered. So we haven't, stepped away from the quality of the vaccines to get this price. I also wanted to say that I will be adding to our next docket, walking in one of my officers with the new uniforms. We've just finished with the uniforms. We've just finished with our new logo. We're actually in the process of ordering what we call swag, which is going to be buttons and certain little trinkets, things like that, that we can give out. And lastly, I will be doing WREG tomorrow morning instead of a conference I anticipated I would be going to. I'll be doing that instead. And on March 20th, Horn Lake becomes the official Pet of the Week host for WREG.
Well, great. Well, what time are you on in the morning?
Live at 9.
Sir?
It'll be 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Glenn. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions or comments? Alderman Dupree.
Mr. Glenn, when you go to this conference, you're going to be the instructor?
No, sir. But the wonderful, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. The wonderful thing is being part of this, this team, they've actually asked for me to be on the board. Of course, I would need to speak with you all first before I did that. But just being a member allows us to get all of my team to these conferences at a very, very discounted rate. So going to this will be very important as far as networking and getting training at a very low cost.
Alderman Bledsoe.
On your logo that y'all gonna put on your shirts, you need to run it through the board before, so we can look at it to make sure, because we don't need 9 different thousand things, so anyway.
Yes, sir. We will do.
Anyone else? Mr. Hockersmith, did you have anything for the board?
No, sir, not tonight.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Hockersmith? Mr. Robinson, did you have anything for the board? I didn't forget. Mr. Robinson, I said I didn't forget. You can't get on me.
Thank you, sir. I did want to update the board. We have spoken in the past about the PATH group. They did finish their feasibility study, got me some numbers back today, preliminary numbers, and I hope to have an official presentation from them. on these numbers, but the PATH group was the group that was looking to save us on street lights throughout the city and replacing those and adding additional lights. But they gave me some numbers, and it would be from their initial feasibility study, it would be an annual cost of what they're projecting, a little over $66,000, which would be a savings annually of about $180,000 of currently what we're paying now. So, and they even they did some long-range 20-year numbers, and they were projecting a 20-year savings of $4,858,000. Have done in the past is send out RFQs for others to give quotes, similar quotes to the city to see what, make it a little more competitive to see if anybody else can save us additional money. So that's just the preliminary. I wanted to bring that back to you because that was a couple board meetings ago. So that has the potential of saving the city long term. Maybe not this board or large ad valorem check. So we are in the month of March. At the end of this month, we will be halfway through the budget year. So this is our 6th month. And we're at ad valorem, we're at 60%. Overall revenue, you probably noticed we're at almost 45%. So we're almost 50% of the way there, and we're almost halfway through the year on revenue. So that's a good sign. But if you didn't notice, skimming through all the departments, pretty much every one of the departments' expenses are in the 30% range. So it's very good. The departments are keeping theirs down instead of it being close to halfway there, 60%. Everybody's in the 30s. You know, we have some 33, 39, 34, 32. So it's very good. They're keeping their expenses down, and our revenue is trickling in. So that is good so far this year.
Anybody have any questions? Alderman Bledsoe.
Do they have a schematic of which ones they're going to put in first, the lights, or they're going to give that to you at the time they tell you, here's the price?
Well, when we get down to an official proposal, yeah, they will have all those and the particular type of lights that they use. They do use all LEDs, so and even goes down to the type of poles, whether it's concrete or metal decorative. You know, they have those options also.
Well, what I was asking about, where they're going to start.
Oh, well,
every alderman wants their ward first.
Well, I mean, really that's based on need in the city, and Mr. Box and his team, when they're out there, you know, what lights are floundering and that are going out all the time that we need to replace, and then those areas like we've discussed down Nell Road, Interstate Boulevard, where we need to put new lights. So it'll be kind of similar to what Mr. Vince did with the street maintenance program, assessing every street in the city on need of which is the most important, all the way down to this one can wait.
That's what I was getting at. On Church Road, I got one comes on sometime and sometime it's off. So when you look, it might be on, and when you leave, it might be off.
Anyone else? Mr. Jim?
Yes, sir.
Is this the same group that we heard a couple of years ago down at the Economic Council office?
I believe they have been out there. You know, they just finished the city of Sanatobia. They went through this whole program and are redoing all of their lights to LEDs throughout the whole city of Sanatobia. They're branching out past Mississippi. They're doing a large portion of Nashville. Brentwood area. But they're, they did proposals for Vicksburg, Tunica, and other cities in Mississippi. But we have heard from them. They've been at several of the economic development meetings.
What I was asking about, if the board wishes me to, and it's okay going through you too, I think Tunica adopted a plan like this, and I'm not for sure if this is the company, but I'd like to call the mayor of Tunica and see how it's going. If there's really, everything is producing like they were promised. Does anyone have no, everything okay? All right, thank you. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Jim, you have anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Billy, you have anything for the board?
I don't, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Campbell? All right. At this time, it's number 12, executive session. We need to go into closed determination. Do we have a motion to go into closed determination?
Mayor,
Alderman Geist.
I make a motion to go into closed determination.
We have a motion by Alderman Geist. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you all will excuse us for a few moments, please.
that motion.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. We have a second by Alderman Dupree. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters in the Animal Control Department.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. If you will excuse us, ladies and gentlemen. How's your dog? Is she doing good? Come out of executive session.
Mayor, I make the motion, come out of executive session.
Motion by Alderman Dupree. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Geis. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Aye. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. Do we have any motions coming out of executive session? If there are none, do we have a motion to adjourn this honorable board?
Mayor.
Motion by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Guys.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 absent. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned.